If I were given two options, and the first one was to be put in a barrel full of spikes and then rolled down a hill, and the second one was to watch an hour of family vlog channels, I'm picking the first one without any goddamn hesitation. I'm picking any form of medieval torture over that shit. Family channels are one of the most hated channels on the internet for a good reason. It's really weird to see parents just shamelessly exploiting their kids for money and attention. Because when you boil it down, that's what it is, exploitation. And almost every single one of these family channels can be broken down into the weird ass ways they use their kids to get clicks, but I'm not gonna talk about that, because none of them even remotely hold a candle to the one I'm gonna talk about today, Miss Ruby Franke, the most abusive and fucked up family vlogger on YouTube. Now, a couple months ago, she got arrested for her abusive parenting style and was sentenced to up to 30 years in jail. And I've never heard of this woman before, so I got curious and looked into it. And honestly, after seeing what this woman has done, that punishment is a slap on the wrist. They went easy on her. This chick needs to be in jail until the next ice age. She is a genuinely terrible person, and I don't really say that type of stuff often. Like, there are serial killers out there that have treated their victims better than the way this woman has treated her kids. She originally started the YouTube channel 8 Passengers in 2015, where she showcased off her daily life with her 6 kids and her husband in Utah. She posted 5 videos a week, and off the rip, this woman had no shame in how she got views. She was straight up totally fine with embarrassing her kids on camera.
Chad, what are you doing over there? You no texting at the dinner table. No texting.
Let me see it. Let me see it.
I see it.
We should clarify.
I said no.
What is this? I really like you. Hold on.
I did not say that.
How do you work this stupid phone?
Just absolutely no shame. I mean, honestly, what a brave woman. Seriously, she made the humble decision to sacrifice her kid's dignity so that she could make it big on YouTube. What a humble woman. Seriously, what a brave soul. At one point, she quite literally faked one of her kids getting a serious leg injury, again, for views.
Chad, now...
I'm serious, where did it go? I dropped the phone.
Chad, are you serious? I can't see you. I can't see anything. Chad, are you okay?
Oh my god!
I can't see you. Where are you?
His leg is broken, please!
Rebecca? Alright, is everybody good? Time to get there! What did you have for breakfast?
Lucky Charms.
Lucky Charms?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys want your heads over here?
So, yes, this was staged.
The kids basically had no privacy whatsoever, and Ruby even admitted to that.
Tell me how comfortable it is. Like, close the door.
No, you can see through this. Please don't look.
Then put your... No, I'm not gonna look. I'm gonna scream the first time I use that quick. Oh, weird. Yeah, I haven't...
Again, which is weird. But in 2020, the content slowly turned from embarrassing her kids to straight up starting to be abusive. And there have been multiple instances she displayed that you could argue as child abuse. And this was all happening right on camera, right on the vlogs. She started to withhold food from her kids as punishments for certain things. 2 of her sons were just goofing around and wrestling each other, and when she told them to stop and they didn't listen, she threatened them to not let them eat dinner.
You're torturing him. Stop it. I know you're not, but it looks like you are. Okay, Russell.
I'm only gonna say it one more time, and then you're gonna lose the privilege to eat dinner.
It's a bad sign if your mom is considering eating dinner a privilege. That's some Hunger Games shit. She also got criticism when she made it the responsibility of her children to make their own lunch, including her 6-year-old daughter. So when her daughter forgot to make her own lunch and went to school without any food, the teacher reached out to her mom being concerned. And the mom basically responded with, "Welp, guess you gotta starve."
I just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children, because I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
She's 6 fucking years old. She barely even knows how to read a goddamn Dr. Seuss book. It's your responsibility to make her lunch and make sure she's fed. The fuck kind of statement is that? She also threatened to cut the head off from one of her kids' favorite toys simply for just misbehaving.
If you cut one more thing in my house,
We're chopping its head off.
I'm going to take the scissors, look at me, and I'm going to cut its head off.
Grandma will be so mad.
So what are you going to do?
Are you gonna cut anything else? No.
You promise? Look at Mama.
I mean, like, what the fuck is that? That's just so unnecessary. And listen, there's nothing wrong with punishing your kid to discipline them. All parents should do that. Some should be doing it more, some should probably be doing it less. But this woman took it a little too far with these ridiculous punishments that are kind of cruel. And listen, maybe some of these are just taken horribly out of context. Maybe these punishments are fair, and maybe we're just not seeing the big picture. But unfortunately, it's not. Because this woman only gets worse and worse from here. So at one point, Ruby sent her oldest son to a wilderness camp for troubled teens. There wasn't really a specific reason. She described why she did it in the most vague-ass way.
So we spent weeks and months inviting this child to change, holding this child accountable. And when that wasn't a decision we could see that this child was going to make, we said, okay, what is a visceral experience that we can offer this child as a gift? And having him go to a wilderness therapy camp was what we came up with.
From what I got from this video, it seemed like he was just being a teenager and she didn't want to deal with the responsibility of all of his changes and having to raise him through this difficult time. So she sent him to a camp so that they can basically raise him for her. That's what I'm getting at here, because it's not uncommon. And what's crazy is that she makes it seem like as if it was this God-sent gift to him. Like as if this was the best possible thing that she can do for her child, when in reality, it's actually one of the worst. These like wilderness camps for troubled teens, yeah, that's one of the worst places you can send your child. These businesses are flooded to the brim with scandals of abuse, and even murder. If you guys remember Bad Baby and how she got famous on Dr. Phil, she was sent to like one of those programs through the show. And it wasn't until years later she came forward talking about how she was abused multiple times by staff members, along with the other kids who were severely abused and malnourished, and one of the kids quite literally even murdered one of the staff members. There's so many reports, cases, studies, and there's even a documentary on Netflix going into the horrors of this entire business. It's not a smart place to send your kids. And this mom sent one of her children to those camps. And not too long after he came back, she banned him from his own bedroom for 7 months and quite literally forced him to sleep on a sleeping bag. Why? It was because he pulled a prank on his younger brother, making him believe that they were going to visit Disneyland.
My bedroom was taken away for 7 months and then you give it back like a couple weeks ago.
I don't think our viewers know that.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October. And they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago. Oh, I'll give you the reason why I lost my bedroom. I think so. I think this is the reason. At least this is the reason that's been in my head. It's pretty funny, but now that I look back, I mean, it's pretty depressing.
No, we never told our viewers.
That I woke Russell up at 2 in the morning and told him that we're going to Disneyland and he has to pack. And he got up and made his bed all neatly and then packed all his clothes in a suitcase. And then he walked out the door and I'm like, Russell, and he's like, what? And he's all happy. Has his sunglasses on.
Russell got the big bedroom and Chad got the smaller bedroom. And Russell's bigger bedroom also had a bathroom. But what you guys didn't know was Chad didn't get any room. He didn't get anything. He was sleeping on the floor in the family room.
I mean, looking at the footage here, those kids look more like hostages than her own children. If they could leave, they would. And all of this stuff that I've described is just a very small handful of all of the shit that has been documented and posted to their channel. There are so many instances of this shit that there is quite literally an entire Google Doc that documents every single instance and more. The abuse was so apparent and concerning that people quite literally formed a petition on change.org to get Child Protective Services on the family's ass. And it got hella signatures. CPS did take the situation seriously by going to the family's house, interviewing each child, and doing a very thorough investigation. However, they didn't find any violations of any kind and dropped the case completely. But at this time, even though Ruby wasn't losing her children, she was losing something much worse. Her views. All of the abuse allegations have caused 8 passengers to go down in popularity. And at this time, Ruby's marriage was also starting to crumble. By next year, both her and her husband have separated and she decided to go into a new direction. But unfortunately, she did not retire from content. She partnered with Jody Hildebrand, who's a licensed therapist and owns her own company, Connections. And together, they created a new channel together called Moms of Truth, where they gave parenting advice. Yes, the mom who has built a career off exploiting her kids while also abusing them for the world to see is going to give parenting advice. This is like a cracked out hooker doing a school assembly for why drugs are bad. She's not exactly in the position to be giving advice, but it was barely even a parenting advice channel, as she used it to talk about more important things like downplaying eating disorders or blaming victims or ranting about US immigrants coming into the country. You know, important stuff. Now, the stuff that we saw her doing to her kids is just simply what we saw on camera. What she was choosing to post for the public. And what we were seeing was already pretty damn bad. So it makes you think, what on earth could have possibly been happening behind the camera? Well, it's actually much worse than we possibly could have thought. Ruby was arrested on August 30th of 2023 because of a situation that sounded straight out of a horror movie. She quite literally tied up her son and duct taped him to a chair and severely starved him to the point where he was malnourished. The son had climbed out of a window and immediately went to the neighbor's house to beg for food and water. And when the neighbor saw a 12-year-old who had open wounds, duct tape on his body, and was malnourished to the point where he was just all skin and bone, he immediately called the cops like a hero. And when the authorities showed up, they found Ruby's other daughter, who was also starved to the point of skin and bone, and took both of the kids to the hospital immediately, and also arrested both Rudy and Jody. So Ruby was finally caught and facing the consequences of her actions. But it still wasn't over, because just when we thought it couldn't get worse, shit got worse. In her confession, she stated way worse stuff than what she originally had done. In one instance, she forced her kid to work outside for several hours without any proper equipment, which had caused him to get extremely bad sunburns. In another instance, after severely kicking her son, she forced his head underwater while covering his nose and mouth so that he couldn't breathe. I've genuinely heard of prisoners getting a better treatment than what this woman has done to her kids. That sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I don't feel like I am. I'm like afraid to do any more research into this topic because I'm scared of what I might find out next. Now, one of the mom's oldest daughters, who had completely separated from the family at this time, posted a picture on her Instagram story basically celebrating the news of her mom being arrested. Like, that's how bad it was. And she even described how she was trying to get CPS involved to take down her mom, but it seems like nothing was working. But at least justice is finally being served. Ruby has pleaded guilty on 2 charges of child abuse and will face up to 30 years in jail, which is the maximum punishment for her. A horror story with a somewhat happy ending, something we don't get to see often. The saying that every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child is extremely fitting for this situation. This woman did not deserve these children or to be a mom at all, and these children definitely did not deserve the hellish mom that they had. Now, I just want to say, for all the clips in this video, I have censored the kid's face for their protection. So I'm going to ask all of you guys to do the same by respecting their privacy as well. Thank you. Shalom.